Welcome to the Moontails Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Law from the channel Justice, and this here I have with me is Azumi and
So
Fresh and Freshy Khan, aka
Hello.
Best Ken.
Yes, I'm the best skin out there. You won't find any better.
Yeah. This week our main topic will be on the anime and manga Monster by Naoki Urasawa.
Yep.
I'll have Azumi talk about it first, since she was the one who introduced it to us all.
She's the OG monster fan.
She's been saying that for like 3-4 years for everyone to watch it.
forever. And no
It's
one
okay. I
does.
can now finally
Until
understand,
today.
the thematic complexity that Law can't understand for some reason. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tell us, you like your first experiences with it, and how long have you been a fan of it?
So my first experience was actually like I think I was maybe in my like sophomore year of high school, and I was in this med program, and like I was really into medicine at the time. So um I randomly stumbled across a video on Facebook because everybody liked Facebook at the time, and um, I saw like this clip. It was like a 4-minute clip of episode 48 of Monster, where Johan is kind of leading. I forgot the kid's name. Do you guys remember him? It's when
Yeah, I know the
Leader?
little
Johan
boy.
is cross
No,
dressing and he leads this kid to find his mother, quote unquote.
The other
that was just
mother.
so unnecessarily cruel.
It was, but it got me into
I
it.
feel like that's
And
what Johan is all about.
yeah,
Unnecessary cruelty. That's what Johan is.
That's true.
I don't think it was unnecessary,
Law,
It was
honestly,
really
but
he's a
unnecessary.
villain. He's a villain. Which is
I
unnecessary.
think it was just because he was mad about the fact that he doesn't get a fresh start when it comes to a family. He was not wanted in the first place,
That's
even
fair.
Yeah,
by like his own mother.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For those of you who haven't seen the show or read the manga, I'd really suggest you do, because we will be spoiling you.
Yeah, heavy
I should have
spoilers.
said that
Yeah.
before, but
I mean, all we've really said is
sorry.
about how Johan is the best strap in anime.
He
How thick
is.
Johan is.
But yeah, that
Well, we
kind of
talked
got
about
me
this.
into it, and I watched the first episode, and after that I was really hooked. I really loved Tenma. I think he was my favorite character at first, and then slowly later on it just started to be Johan. So
He
yeah,
was everyone's favorite
Ah,
character at first.
I thought you were gonna say Grimmer. Damn,
Uh, we all
I
have
loved
different
Grimmer.
favorite characters, which
man.
is I like that. We all have different opinions on it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like Grimmer's story felt the more complete to me. Like Johan's story was kind of like the ending was like a bit of a cliffhanger. Like you don't know what Johan is gonna do. And then Tenma, he just goes and does his own thing. We don't get really any sort of like, closure on his story or
No,
character development.
Lunge had the best
Oh,
closure.
I think it was I think it was
Lunge
a
is just
good closure,
amazing.
honestly.
I don't know, between Lunge and Grimmer, like it's a tough choice, but I'm gonna go with Grimmer, man.
Yeah,
He's too good.
for me, my top two are also Lunge and then Grimmer. I loved
Yeah.
Grimmer. His
My top
storyline.
His
two.
ending was amazing, even though
Oh
it was
my
really
My
sad.
god, that one was just incredible.
Depressing. It was so depressing too. Like, god
But it
damn,
was so uplifting at the
it
same
was
time. You're
so
sad because he was
meaningful.
dying, but him going throughout his entire life, never being able to express his emotions, and only on his deathbed does he come to terms with all the tragedy and suffering, while also coming to terms with the joys and blessings of this life. He got to experience the happiness of spending time with his son and getting married, but he also was suffering the sadness of his son's death. All of those emotions that were just kept in like a lockbox in his soul, and then it just
Yeah,
comes all overflowing in such a beautiful way.
it's kind of a weird thing as well, because like you don't really take emotions as something that is like would be something valuable. It's kind of like it's always been there for any normal human being. So seeing a character that lacks emotion, but instead of being like a complete douchebag, he's actually a nice person, like, trying to find his emotions back, which is something I really appreciate about Grimmer's character.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved how like how his sociopathy was so well displayed. Like he isn't just some sociopath who doesn't care about people and is emotionless, so he takes advantage of people. It's quite the contrary, as you said. His his sociopathy is what made him want to feel emotion and want to care more for people. He he had this desire to even to express the correct emotion in the moment, and yeah, that annoyed me sometime in the series, but it was really good writing. Azumi, you were saying something?
Um, I don't remember what I said.
Damn.
Did I say something?
Yeah, you're. I think you were about to say something,
Yeah,
but
no, I don't.
he provides a really good foil for Johan. I must say,
Yeah, he
like
does.
Johan was emotionless, and so he became a monster, whereas Grimmer was emotionless, but he tried his very best to be everything but the
He's not.
monster that they made him.
Yeah.
We'll
Like
try to make him.
the they did make him a monster. The Magnificent Steiner was like an
Oh yeah,
example
the
of that.
magnificent stuff.
How
Yeah, but it
anytime
was
he's in
kind
a,
of like it
and
wasn't him.
it's
I
still
think
technically it was more of a split personality thing, but
Yeah,
it was
so it
still.
isn't Grimmer itself. They never kind of
no,
took
I,
I think it is
who he
I
definitely
was
think it's
Grimmer.
away from
still
him.
him. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
still
think it's
him.
definitely Grimmer. Yeah.
But the beautiful part of his death was that even though he could have relied on his other personality and maybe gotten away with it, like without dying, he it was just more impactful for his character that he himself was the one to overcome the people that were trying to kill him and to kill the others.
I
So he came.
think
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's more of like once his emotions were back, I think that part, like the Magnificent Steiner part of him, just died away because usually when someone has quote unquote supernatural powers, they kind of just release the trigger that their brain puts on their body to protect
But
themselves. So that's
yeah,
I think
that
that's what's wrong with him.
no, that was my point. Like he,
Yeah.
unlike Johann, who embraced what the world made him, the monster that he became. Grimmer fought his whole life trying to be anything but that, and so the fact that he fought the last obstacle completely by himself, I think that was a trigger for his emotions to all come back, and that was the death of the quote unquote death of the Magnificent Steiner, which was symbolically like the block of all his emotions. I feel like that's what made his death even more powerful and beautiful.
Yeah. It's just really depressing to see someone like him just die, even though he didn't really deserve it.
He really didn't.
And Johan just lived. Like, come on, Tenma.
Johan, I'll let Azumi speak on Johan first because he's her favorite character.
Controversial.
I love this character ever since he honestly started um pulling mind games on the characters themselves and the people watching it. So like I was always like very confused with Johan's character because I wasn't sure if he was actually displaying like actual emotion or or he was telling lies or showing like fake affection or anything like that. I was
Mm,
never sure until like the end.
really? I always
Yeah.
thought though when he was like shocked or something. Like he always like had this distinct face on it, like the same
Even when
face
he
on him.
was doing that, I wasn't sure if it was genuine.
I don't know. I think I was always able to tell when he was like playing mind games or being genuine. But I
I
think at the
couldn't.
same time,
I
like
think one of the moments
Wait,
was when
when was Johan genuine? I'm curious.
when he was crying and like shocked about some other things, like it wasn't actually like emotions. It was just like what the hell, like kind of thing.
Wait. So you think during like the Munich arc with the billionaire's son, and he started crying in front of him, hearing the sob story. You think that was genuine?
Yeah, not in front of him. Like when you remember when he went to like the old like house, remember that, and he went in front of the painting and started like crying. You don't remember that?
Oh, yeah, with his mother's painting.
Yeah, he was all alone. I think that was completely genuine.
Okay, that, that's understandable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was always able to tell whether Johan was like being himself or like playing mind games. I think that
I
was easily to
I just
distinct.
felt I
yeah, I
just felt
really
that he
didn't
was
until like
only
the last
himself.
few episodes.
I felt like he was only himself when he was alone. When he was with others, he was always playing mind games.
Not
I mean,
necessarily.
uh,
I
I
feel
mean,
like
it is his nature to
like
play mind
Anna
games. So, like the
plays a
like
part
saying
in
that he
this.
isn't never himself while being with others kind of contradicts itself. But I can understand what you mean. I mean, with Anna, he never was himself either. I think he cherished Anna, but like in a toxic way. Like you belong to me because like I'm your brother. He never really
I
cared for
I
her
don't think
enough
he
to.
I don't think he thought she belonged to him. It was just this creepy relationship where he like glorified her and he wanted to put her up on a pedestal.
No,
It
I
was just
think I think
really weird.
Johan put himself above everyone else. I don't think he valued Anna more than himself, personally.
Oh, I came to a different conclusion. I thought he definitely cared about her more than himself,
No,
which is we'll talk about that more.
yeah, I think like because towards the end of the series, you see Johan asking Tenma, "Do you think my mom picked her because she cared more about her other than me?" And that kind of shows that it's not that he loves Anna. He just, I mean, he does, but like he cares about her because she's the last fragment of his past that he is stuck upon, which is whether his mother loved him enough to keep him around, or if she wanted to sacrifice him instead of his sister. So I don't think he uh like loved her that much. I just think he loved her because she was the last fragment of something related to him, which he really cherished.
I disagree. He had ever since the beginning, he's been he's been glorifying her and treating her as if she's better not just than him but than anyone. Like, do you remember that scene where he's picking up acorns and giving it to her and saying, "Oh, this is yours. This is yours. The stores that we were driving by, they're yours. The streets are yours. Everything is yours." Like, he wasn't saying everything's mine. He was saying everything is yours. And other scenes that were somewhat creepy was when like he sent her the text of like, believe it was, "I want to bury you in a field of flowers," or
No,
Azumi
he
can
said,
correct me.
I was born to smother you with flowers.
Okay, yeah. See, that's not
Bury
something you
you
say
in
to
a
your
field of
sister.
flowers sounds sketchy.
No, no, I agree,
You
but I
don't
wouldn't
say
say
that
that
as
to
a.
my sister. But like, I don't know. I just never felt that Johan glorified her more than himself, if that makes sense.
I don't think it was glorification. I think it was affection. It was the
Maybe.
only person he had or felt he had because even their mother um technically chose herself over them.
Yeah.
He didn't have a genuine person and he felt Anna was the closest thing to that because they were blood related and she was always by his side.
Yeah, I agree there. I agree there.
So I don't think it was glorification. I just think that was the only person he felt genuine affection with because his mother didn't give him that.
Like,
Yeah.
we're splitting hairs at this point.
Psychology 101.
All right. What was your favorite part about Johan, or your
Um,
favorite moment in the series?
I think it's that one part where Tenma's getting ready to kill him, and I don't know if you guys remember this part. It's when he's surrounded by a ton of children, and Johan's just looking at him.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember that. What
Yeah.
about you, Ken? What's your favorite Johan moment?
I mean, okay, like when it comes to Johan, I really appreciate his concept in the story, and like most of his like the fascination about Johan is how he's built out to be in this huge like facade of like who is Johan and what is he doing and why is he, you know, really unknown. But like once he comes to light, he's kind of an like he's underwhelming. Like I didn't feel that he was that big of a amazing villain that he was painted out to be, but I think he really appealed to me towards the end of the story. Like initial like once the absolute suicide or whatever it was, and then until the end of the series, that's like when he really was really good to me. But like other than that, I really thought Johan was a bit disappointing as a villain, not as a concept, if that makes sense.
I can agree with you somewhat there. We'll talk more about the perfect suicide later.
Yeah.
Um,
What about you,
my
Law?
my favorite moment of Johan, it probably wasn't even his moment, but was
Yeah.
when
I feel like I know
when
what
he
you're
took
gonna say.
Tenma to the land of the end, and they're just completely surrounded by nothingness, and he's like, "Do you see this as well?" And even then, Tenma wasn't able to shoot him. But
I thought
back
you
to
were
my
gonna say that that moment where Johan is cross dressing and he takes off the wig and he just
okay,
smiles at
that was the funniest that was honestly the funniest moment in the series when he took off the wig and he just has the most disgusting smile looking in the mirror like he looks like the devil or something.
he
But
does.
my
But
favorite
that's the
moment,
point.
yes, was in the end when Johan isn't defeated by any of the main characters like Anna or Tenma. He's defeated by a random drunk, and I just
Oh
love
He
the
yeah.
doesn't call that
reference.
defeat.
Yeah.
I love the
That was
reference to the
amazing.
first episode when it has like a Bible verse that's along the lines of like, "And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a monster rise up the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of I think blasphemy."
Yeah.
And the monster they worshiped the monster and the dragon, which gave them power unto the monster, and they worshiped the monster, saying, "Who is like unto the monster, and who is able to make war with him?" And the drunk at the end said, when the cops asked him, why did you shoot that man? And he's like, "No, what man? I didn't shoot a man. I saw a monster with 7 heads about to kill my son." That, I just love that. That was like my favorite moment of Johan. Like it's not even of Johan, but probably my favorite moment in the series. I just love that.
That was great. Yeah. I really
Yeah,
liked
that's beautiful.
the drunk. I thought he was a useless character at first when they first introduced him, but
He
the
became
way
useful.
yeah he did.
I was hoping Johan died because he deserved like a meaningless death after his whole like garbage about a perfect suicide that was just
I would
so
have been
imperfect.
disappointed.
I thought he
It-
deserved it.
This is where the
No,
controversy started.
it wasn't a perfect suicide. Like, can you guys explain to me what his perfect suicide was, and so I can talk about it? I know what it is, but I don't want to talk
Okay.
for five
I
minutes.
think he just wanted to erase everything that had to do with his past, not necessarily his like his mark on humanity. Like he couldn't, of course, like kill everyone that knew him, even though that was like a really spare amount of people. He just wanted to erase the town he came up with, or in because what was the name of the guy who was carrying out the experiments? I forgot his name.
Uh,
Is it
Doctor,
Franz?
yeah, Franz Bonaparte.
Yeah, Franz Bonaparte. He wanted to kill him. So I think that was he what was he defined as the perfect suicide?
Okay, if he just wanted to erase his past, why did he kill all those families where he just lived with them for like a year and
Okay,
they don't
this
know
is
anything about his childhood?
okay.
It
This
might
is
have been, yeah.
I have like a theory on this is because like he never really had a family to appreciate him. I know this is kind of a dumb thing, like a dumb theory, if you want to call it that, but I think he wanted to show affection to these people, but he had no idea how to. So he just decided to kill them because he thought that everyone is equal in death.
I
So that's how,
disagree.
okay,
I
how,
felt
so
well, my theory was that even though he had a somewhat of a home with these people, um I feel that he was jealous that at the end of the day his biological parents did not accept him or love him in the way he should have been loved. So he kind of just rejects these people, and his way of rejecting them is by killing them.
I don't know if it goes
I
that
could be
deep
wrong though.
because like Johan's whole premise of a character is that he plays with people as a child plays with an ant, or like a hill of ants, or whatever that quote was. So I don't
Yeah.
think he put so much meaning into killing a bunch of people. I think he just did it because he could. He wanted to kill them, so he did. I don't think he did it because he wanted to like reject them or something like that.
Okay.
I feel more kind of along my opinion lies more with Azumi, where I feel like
Mm.
he wanted something out of them, and once he realized that he could never have a certain thing, he kind of just threw a temper tantrum and left.
I don't know.
Similarly,
I really
yeah,
never understood how like because to me when I was reading the manga, it never struck me that Johan was the kind of person to like really feel attached to his mom. Maybe towards the end because of what he said to Tenma, but
Mhm.
like the whole series, it never painted him out to be this troubled child with like parental issues. Like I mean, of course,
Yeah,
his
but
childhood was
the
messed up,
wait,
but
wait,
like
wait,
it
wait. I
wasn't even the
disagree.
ending that brought it off.
No, the whole series was
He's
about his parental issues.
yes,
I don't know about that honestly.
like even with the kid that he mentally traumatized. This dude was going off and talking to this kid like he was talking to himself. He was putting himself down.
Yeah, he was so infuriated by the child's hope and the child that he put the child through hell.
Was he infuriated, or did he think that what he was doing was the correct way of living? Because I think there's a
I
difference.
don't think it was a correct way. I think he was just trying to take this child's hope away because his hope was already gone and
I
he
think he
didn't
was
want the child to have, I guess, meaningless emotions.
I think he was
Hmm.
I
jealous
do
of the
believe
child's
that,
innocence.
yeah.
Okay. I
His
mean, okay,
innocence was taken away from him,
you
and
bring
so
up a good point. You bring up a good point. It just never really struck me that Johann was really like jealous of other people's like innocence or like parents in that sense. I mean, of course, his childhood is troubled and it's been built up the entire series, but it never struck me in Johann like himself that he cared that much about his blood parents. I was led more to think that he's some sort of narcissist that his troubled childhood led him to, experience more traumatic events in his childhood, which he classified as quote unquote the truth.
At
So he
the
was
end of the
trying,
day, though,
yeah,
the parental factors are the source of what he became.
yeah. I'm not saying that the parental sources are not why he became that. I'm just saying it's not what bothered him most, or it was not the center of his concern. If that is more clear. I thought that he was more of a like a narcissist, and he thought himself above people because he experienced those things as a child, which he thought was the real nature of the world and his stance on lives being equal in death and all of that. I think he was just trying to spread that to the child because he was brought up like that. He was led to believe that as a child, so he thought it was okay to tell the child that because he was brought up the same way, and he thought of
I
himself above
really
everyone.
disagree.
I don't
I
know. That's
believe
how
that
it.
in that moment, he did not care about that child or acknowledge him.
I don't know.
He was
He never
talking to
cares about anyone
himself.
though. He never cares about
All
anyone.
right.
That's
That
the thing though.
entire time, he's conversating with himself, and this kid is even asking him if he's okay, and he continues to talk, looking down at the table like he does not care. He's just having a conversation with himself.
I don't think it's either or. I think that there is it's a gray area for his character, and I do think both things equally motivated it. Actually, maybe not equally. I think his childhood trauma probably motivated it a bit more due to how hyper fixated he was. But that's a big thing within Johan's character that I feel like we need to discuss. Johan uh, has this nihilistic ideology, as Ken mentioned, that he is the counter argument to Tenma, who believes that all lives are equal. Johan believes everyone is equal in death, and I believe that Johan, throughout the series, when he encounters people who have different beliefs, he doesn't argue with them. He doesn't like to argue with them, and that's why when he saw the child, he wasn't necessarily arguing with him. He was simply asking him questions to make him question his reality, and he took him down a path where he would make the child get to a point where he was. And without the intervention of Grimmer and Tenma, the child would have ended up in a really terrible place. And I think that child really, really mirrors Tenma throughout the series. Johan put Tenma on a path to where he wanted Tenma to kill him. I believe that Johan saw the most kind and considerate person. Wait, um, saw the most kind and considerate person in Tenma, and decided that his ideology that humanity is terrible or horrific or whatever it is would be contradicted by the existence of Tenma. And so he wanted to make the most kind and genuine person that he knows and turn him into a killer, similar to what he already did with Anna by making her shoot him.
Question: do you think that Johan cared about Tenma more? Like, did he care about him, or was it just confined to proving Tenma wrong?
I think it was more about proving Tenma wrong, because if he cared about him, he wouldn't have taken him through hell.
I mean, okay, but like,
I think he was grateful, but I don't think he genuinely
mm,
cared about him.
didn't he mention before that he did though?
Yeah, he said Tenma, you're like a parent to me, but based on how his parents were, I don't think that's a compliment.
I don't think this dude is very. You can't take everything he says realistically, you know? Like,
I get what you mean, but
I
the
believe
kind
he was
of
very grateful, which is why he killed those doctors for him. But I don't think he genuinely cared about Tenma.
okay, that's fair.
Again, I believe it was more of a statement. He wanted to make the best person he knew into a terrible person by making him kill him, and Tenma won the ideological
Yeah,
battle
definitely.
by not shooting in the end. But Tenma, he was pretty much, it was more of like, I know he's not supposed to shoot him, but it was very frustrating throughout the whole series that he had a gun and he didn't kill anyone for the whole series. He just didn't want to shoot anyone.
I think what
It was
bothers
a
me
good thing,
most.
though. He's
No,
usually stuck by his morals and
I think what
beliefs.
like bothered me most about that is there was this really cool scene of Tenma being like, now I feel like I'm holding like a surgical tool with the gun because he shot that guy at the like the hall,
Yeah,
the
that
burning
was
hall.
very, very stupid.
It
Like,
was so hyped. Like I remember reading that. I was like, hell yeah, Tenma's getting some development. And then
I
two
knew he
chapters
wasn't
later,
gonna
and
do
he
it.
still can't
He's
shoot
still
anyone.
shaking,
Like, come
right?
on.
Like, he says my hand are still as if I'm holding a surgical school tool, and then like he still can't shoot Johan at the end.
Yeah. I think that bothered me a little because like I was really hyped, but in the end he couldn't do it.
I think it made sense that he couldn't do it. It's just that moment annoyed me because it kind of
I
felt
never
like the
expected him to.
I mean,
I didn't
okay,
expect him to until he said he was like calm.
I would have been happy if he did. Like I would have been happy even if he didn't shoot him. I just wish Tenma made himself out to be competent more than he was, because he always talked about like uh shooting Johan, and then in the end he was like, I feel like I'm holding a surgical tool. So I was thinking maybe he's gonna make himself actually useful and actually uh actually get rid of Johan or the threat of Johan. But in the end, even though he didn't shoot him, he didn't even take care of Johan. Johan was just walking down the street. He could have, he was still free. He didn't have any countermeasures against Johan. And even no, Johan knew this because he pointed his forehead and he's like, shoot me. But Tenma never really did because Tenma is incompetent. Like, I feel like Tenma is incompetent
I
through that
don't
whole
think
thing.
he's incompetent.
I
I
don't
think
think
he
so
was
either.
meant to be um, an ideal character, a character who was full of complete kindness and
But
sincerity. But
does
he was
ideal mean
sent
weak,
down.
though?
It
Does
it,
ideal
it
mean weak?
is.
I
Again,
don't think it does.
you're preaching to the choir. I thought it was a weak move for him not to do it, but I think it's admirable that he stuck to his values. Although at the same time, it was kind of annoying because he held
Okay,
his gun throughout the whole series, saying, "I'm gonna kill him. I'm gonna kill him," and it was just so anticlimactic when he wasn't able to do it.
but wouldn't it, like, couldn't he have done both? He could have just like shot his leg or something and then like apprehended him or something instead of just laying
He
down on the
really
floor
could
and
have.
shaking. Like
He
that
really
just
could
seems
have.
really weird to me. Like he got mocked so hard by Johan at the end. I
But
thought I could
then,
have like at least flexed a bit, but like he just nah.
yeah, that's true. Um, yeah, I feel like we've spoken about Johan and Tenma quite a lot. Let's talk about Lunge.
Grim. Oh, you little guy.
We spoke
I
about
am
Grimmer as well.
Japanese. I am Japanese.
Yeah.
I am Doctor Tenma. Domo.
Boom.
I
I
love
love.
Lunge was such good comedy.
Yeah. I think he like the best thing about Lunge is that he's so disconnected out of all of these like ideological clashes. Like you have Tenma being like, "Oh no, you can't say this," and all humans are equal, and then you have Johan being like, "No, all humans are equal in death," and you have Lunge in the side. He just wants to finish his case, and he's like speaking in the mirror. He's like, "I am Doctor Tenma. I am Japanese." Like he doesn't care about
Okay,
any of
he
that. He
he
just wants to do his
was
job.
quite comedic, but I do think he had some brilliant writing in his development, and he had his own internal philosophical battle that was pointed
Yeah,
out
yeah.
primarily
I
by the clinical psychologist,
I
where
agree. I
he
agree.
showed that Lunge has lived his whole life believing that everything he says is complete objective truth when it's not. Everything he's absorbing is the subjective truth, and that sent Lunge down the path that he did to discovering the actual truth and righting the wrongs of his actions.
Yeah, I think that was really good writing. Lunge is a great character. I think
Yeah,
we can agree that out of all of them, he was kind of like the best written one.
I
Uh,
can say he was like that much better than Grimmer. I think Grimmer was great.
no, I'm talking about like best written, like not favorite or like better emotionally.
Okay, okay. I
I just
feel
think
Favorite
like
he's
I
the
moment would
most
definitely
complete
have to
character.
be that part where like his family leaves him and he doesn't care.
He's like, okay, bro.
I
It's like
love that scene
I'm,
so much.
he's like, I'm cheating on you. I'm leaving you. He's like, okay. And he just drinks his coffee and heads to work.
He's like his daughter with like a full pregnant belly is like, "Did you even know I was pregnant?" And he just looks at her. Oh, I'm getting a
No.
call from work, and he leaves.
Oh my god. I love Lunge. Such a good
Yeah,
guy.
I loved his his whole vacation arc where he learned to
I'm on vacation.
accept the subjective truth of things, and hear different sides. I love that for him.
I hope I kind of hope that we got like a panel at the end of Lunge like hugging his family or something, but like nah, he's just going back to work or something.
No, I loved it at the end where he spoke about how he's talking to his daughter over email, and he said, "We're closer now,
Oh, he
even
did he?
hundreds of
Okay,
miles away, than we ever did, than we ever were when we were living in the same house."
okay. I guess
Like
I forgot about that then.
that was a wholesome way to end his character.
Also, email.
Yeah,
He's like retired, like
I,
searching Reddit now.
I loved, I absolutely loved his apology scene, where he spent the whole series chasing after Tenma, only to realize that, oh wait, I'm wrong. And he didn't brush it off. He accepted it like a good person would. He took it he took it completely straightforward, and he
He took
gave
the
up
L.
all his previous belief. Yeah?
He
What do you
took
say?
the L.
Yeah, he took the L to the face. Except I actually he didn't look at Tenma when he was apologizing, which I actually liked. It was almost as if he couldn't, even though he's
You
accepted the
couldn't
truth, he
fathom it,
couldn't look him in the eye while he was saying that.
even
He
though
said like
even though he spent like half the series like going
Yeah,
after.
more than half, like 60
my
episodes
bad,
chasing
bro.
after him. I ruined your life, my bad.
Less than 1 minute, by the way.
Yeah. Uh,
Just thought I'd say so that it doesn't cut out mid sentence or something.
all right, we could end it here then. Um, so yeah, Lunge, easily my favorite character. Where do you have him on your list, Azumi?
He is fourth, I believe,
Hmm.
if I remember correctly. I love him, but there were just there was just characters that stuck out to me more.
Okay. What's your top five? I guess.
I think like
Um,
my first character, like number one, is Grimmer,
Remember-
and then Lunge, and then Tenma, and then I always forget his name. But there was this like cop
Peter.
guy. No. Like remember the cop dude that Ava like fell in love with momentarily.
Oh, it
Yes,
wasn't Richard.
that's no, it's not Richard.
It was. He started with an M.
I hate women.
I loved it. Uh, yeah. Was it Milos?
Yeah, Milos. I think that's was his
Milos.
name.
Yeah. Actually, no. Milos is, I think, the little kid that Johan Johan
Bro, what? Oh yeah,
abused.
he's a little kid. What's that older guy's name? Wait, let me search Ava. What was her last name?
Um.
uh,
Rob
um,
Hitler's wife was called Eva. What the hell?
Heinemann, right?
Ava Heinemann. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, okay.
Martin. I
Yeah,
love him.
Martin. Yeah,
Martin. He was
bold of me.
so good.
Yeah,
He was so good. I loved
even though
him.
I can't remember his name, he's on my top five.
Him and Richard were so great.
Yeah, I feel like Richard didn't get enough screen time. I don't know.
That is one of my biggest problems with the series. But
It's like
Azumi, what's your top five?
Um,
Johan,
first, obviously Johan.
Yes, the
Second
Johan
was
Edma,
simp herself.
Tenma.
Grimmer.
Third was Ava.
Damn.
Um, fourth is Lunge, and then fifth is Grimmer.
Okay, since Ava was so high on your list, I think we have to talk about her.
Yeah,
What's
I
your
don't know. Like,
opinions on her?
oh yeah, go ahead, Azumi.
I loved her. Maybe not in the beginning because she came off as well. She was. She was a really like selfish and greedy person, like her father. So I felt she was taught to be that way because that was the only person that was really around her. But as the story progressed, she kind of realized all her wrongdoings and realized she was a really sad and miserable and lonely person and decided to do something about that.
She was just terrible. Like she was a genuinely terrible human being. Like
But she
she
grew.
abused everyone around her, and the moment that she lost power over someone, like with Tenma, she would cry begging for him to come back. But
Yeah.
Tenma was respect for Tenma because he walked away from her when she was trying that trash.
Yeah, he was just looking down and he
I
just
think
walked out.
that's the only flex Tenma had the whole series, just like walking
Yes.
out on Eva.
Yes.
I
Not
I
love
even.
think we can
Tenma
start
and how
over.
he'd go into
He
every
just looks
village.
so depressed and walks out.
I love how Tenma would go to every village and they would initially think, oh, maybe is he the serial killer? And then they find out, oh, yes, he is the serial killer, but he's such a nice guy, so we can't turn him in. I love
It's very wholesome.
Dita was such a good supporting character. And I'm saying Dita like that because that's how they say it in the Japanese in the sub. I love it because he's like a 10-year-old kid, and they're all saying his voice in the most deep way possible. Like they're speaking to like a guy with a beard and four kids. Like they're just like Dita, oi, Dita. It just kills me every single time.
I also like how like random hospitals like see Tenma walk in, and he's like, "Let me operate on this person," and they just let
That
him.
was
They're like, yep,
so
definitely, of course.
unrealistic. At the end, when he was operating on Johan, you have a really like a suspect. What's the word? A fugitive. You have a fugitive who's on the run, and you guys catch him, and he suddenly decides to pull the I'm a neurosurgeon card, and now I can operate on this guy. Like,
Yeah.
no, your license has probably been revoked for 10 years. You haven't done anything official in that time, so there's no way that they would ever let that happen in real life.
Yeah.
Also, how was he so good still at surgery even after 10 years?
Yeah, you. Well, I guess it can be explained that he was some genius or whatever. I didn't have a big issue with that. It was just the fact that it was so unrealistic that this fugitive is
It was
allowed
just
to
funny.
operate.
It was just funny.
Yeah.
Like every hospital they walk in, he's like, "Let me operate." They're like, "Okay, here you go."
All right. And now that we've gotten through with the main character, I think we have to talk about the supporting characters. And we spoke a bit about Martin and Richard, and I absolutely loved Monster's supporting characters. I feel like they were one of the strongest parts of Monster and really um, greatly impacted my enjoyment of the series. I don't know how you guys feel.
I mean, yeah, I agree that the supporting characters were the best part of Monster. And I'm not saying that the
Yeah.
main characters are bad. It's just that I don't know. I felt they lacked some sort of like
I feel like
humanity to them.
the supporting characters were more characters than the main characters. The main characters were all ideals. They
Yeah, I can
were
agree with that.
more like philosophies than they were characters. Even though they were excellent characters, I did like them. I just felt like every single side character could have been a main character. Well, not every single one, but most of
Honestly,
them. Like that.
Lunge protagonist, bro.
Lungi protagonist would have been. I spoke about this with Azumi before, and I thought like it would have been just so incredible for us to have seen the whole series through Lunge's eyes, and because we're seeing it through his quote unquote objective truth and how he's recording it, we're gonna see the world the way he sees it. And so as fans, we would see Tenma as this monster murderer who's going through this and who's a multiple personality, who has multiple personalities. But and it would have been even more powerful at the end when when what's his name Lunge found out that no, Tenma isn't the monster. Tenma is a good
Yeah.
person. So I just imagined myself looking through his eyes, and that's what made that moment even more powerful for me because I just felt it as if like I came to a realization, even though I watched the show and I know that he's innocent.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
honestly, I can't really blame Lunge for his perspective because even though he was wrong because of his ideals, like from what we've seen of Tenma, he wasn't really helping him see that he was actually innocent. So that's why, like, I kind of understand Lunge. Like, he
But
wasn't a
he
Johan
felt like
bad
he
pinned
couldn't
person.
him.
accept anything that made him incorrect. He was always so sure of himself.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
he has flaws, but like, as
that
well
was
as
the best
But
part
he
of his
didn't
character.
understand that he did.
That was the best part of his character.
He felt that he was so
all
sure
right,
of
fair,
himself that
fair.
there was no possible way that he could ever be wrong about anything.
Yes, I completely agree. And that's what I loved about him. Because when his reality came crumbling down in front of him, he faced it like a man and said, I am sorry. I made a
While looking
mistake.
down.
Okay, to be
So I'll
fair,
give him
okay.
half a man. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Baby steps, okay? Baby steps. Yeah, I loved him. I love the side characters. Richard, Martin, all of them. And this is my biggest issue with the show is that all the best characters either get off screened for most of the series or they never show up again or they're killed off like Martin and Richard were. Like the
Yeah.
Vietnamese doctor girl who was performing surgeries at 17 and she had this tragic anime backstory. I
Oh
would
yeah,
love to see a story on her. The little girl and the mercenary who taught Tenma how to shoot, that was like m- what I absolutely loved. For the first like 40 episodes, that was like my favorite
that
episode.
was a solid
I
story.
just loved
It
it and I
was.
wish we got more of that.
Yeah,
Who else?
I think.
Richard was incredible. Johan killed Richard like a day before he was about to see his child. I,
Yeah,
I, I can't forgive Johan for that. I cannot forgive Johan for that. Ah,
man, I loved Richard. Like
Martin.
character development. Like he
Okay,
worked
yeah,
so hard on
Richard was
himself.
great. He worked so hard to get rid of his alcoholism, and then, fucking, okay, I shouldn't swear. And then,
I don't.
then,
It happens.
then Johan just came out so annoying and is like, "Yes, I know you killed that guy on purpose because you thought he was a devil." Ah. Then onto Martin. Martin was beautiful. I
I
love
hate
Martin.
women. I hate you,
It's
but
not
I'll
that he
protect
hated
you.
women. Not that
It's,
he just
he
said
just
that.
felt. He just felt like he is always compelled to protect them, so that's why he always
Yeah,
hated to
he
be
was
around them.
he was seinen Sanji.
God damn it! Why do I have to like women? I hate women.
God damn it, women.
I
I
only
loved his
want to spend
backstory.
time with the homies.
Oh, that is his mother. Oh my! I love that idea of he he likes he helps people who don't want to be helped. Where they're telling him, "Oh, let me die, let me this, let me that," and it happened already twice before. Once with his mother, who after so long he just let her die. He let her succumb to her fate, and his girlfriend as well. And it was so much more powerful when he made sure not to do that with Ava. And I think that's honestly what made me like Ava. That was the turning point for when I started liking Ava. Was Martin made me see her in a different way.
I really wish they just like ran away and ended up together or something.
I wish, but I feel like he what he did was more important. He showed us as viewers that Ava isn't this evil witch that we're making her out to be.
Yeah.
She's a victim too, just like his mother was a victim to her alcoholism, and his girlfriend, ex-girlfriend, was who was a victim to her drug addiction. Ava is also a victim,
A
and I
victim to
feel like
what?
She is?
to her own personality.
That's not being a
To
victim.
her own
Okay, no,
personality.
but
That's just being
to
a
her
piece of
upbringing.
shit.
No, no, no. To her upbringing and also alcoholism.
But her upbringing, like, Was she
Let
like
me
too
just
spoiled?
explain
Is that the
this.
thing?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was given like a really terrible upbringing. Her father was a terrible person. She
Yeah.
was the first one to kind of speak about, hey, human lives aren't equal, and I'm sure she doesn't believe the same thing at the end.
She doesn't believe it. She just wants to make like she wants to believe that she's better than everyone by just existing. Because
But
that's
towards the
everything.
end of the series,
because
she
she was
didn't believe
taught
that
that.
anymore. Yeah,
That's everything she had. Like
And
she
when she
had
wasn't the
money.
center of someone's universe, like her father kind of expressed towards her, she kind of just had a meltdown.
Crumbled down. Yeah.
okay, I
I
think
also like how the dad was like, "Oh, you've been working on this paper for like 10 years. Trash it. I don't need it anymore."
work on the
Yeah, we don't
speech
need
for
it
me.
anymore.
I was
You're
like,
gonna
why
work on
can't you
this.
do both? Why can't he write the paper for you and also work on his experiments? Like Tenma
Tenma's
has a great
face,
Yeah.
time.
though, he looked like he had crippling
Oh my
depression and
god.
wouldn't go.
That was like so sad to see. He's like, I've been working on this paper for like 2 years. Ah, we don't need it anymore. Just throw it away. Like, goddamn.
Yeah, Tenma was such a good character.
He was. I just wish he
Um,
like, I would just wish he was like stronger. I don't know.
I don't. I think his weaknesses were what made him good. But just before we talk about Johan's perfect suicide, do you guys have any like other criticisms for the series?
Hmm.
I mentioned how like the side characters never got enough shine, even though they were just
Unge
I
should
think
have
I
been
think
best part.
Japanese.
that's the only criticism there is, to be honest. Because like the world of Monster was like so well constructed, but the main characters they're just like really focused on one thing, and they're ideal, and everything in their world is focused on this one thing. Meanwhile, these side characters has had more than one thing to worry about, and they were just like more mapped out, in my opinion, which made them
I
better.
agree. The side characters felt more complex and more human
Yeah,
than
because like as a
Tenma.
human, you don't have like, oh, I need to do this, and you never like do anything
Tenma
beside it.
felt
Like
like
that's not
a
what it is.
shonen. Tenma felt like a shonen protagonist to me.
It's not that it's not that he was a shonen protagonist. It's just that he was like
He was though.
he was portrayed through the show to be like this huge victim. And I get that he's suffering to like try to make it go away, but he never seems like he's like, I don't know. He just feels like he doesn't have any motivation. He just feels
Yeah,
really
I never understood that either.
undershadowed all the time. Like, why can't you do something for yourself for once? Like, why can't you stand up for yourself? You don't have to be like, oh, I do this for the like the good of others. Like, you could have done that as well as like not be victimized so much in the show. I feel like he could have shined a bit more, had like better moments. That's why like I was really happy when he had that gun moment. When he was like, it feels like I'm holding a surgical tool, which made like that was really hype, but they just ruined it
Okay,
by
I
having him shake
can
as well.
understand that, but in my opinion, his most powerful moment in the series was when he chose not to shoot Johan.
I'm not saying
Where
that this is a bad thing. Like, I don't know if you understand what I mean. I'm not saying that not shooting
no,
Johan is bad. I think that's good because that's the whole purpose of his character. I just wish he could have done more. I just wish he couldn't have like didn't crumble in front of Johan. Like when Johan came out, he just like fell on the floor and held his gun up. Like, why? I had hoped that he developed past this point, you know. But every time Johan shows up, he like falls to his knees and like starts shaking.
okay,
Like, I don't know. I don't like that part
yeah,
about
I
it.
did find that annoying. Oh, we didn't even get to talk about Anna. Anna annoyed me so much. How like I feel for me it felt like 50% of her scenes were just her holding a gun and the gun shaking and the camera's just doing fast shot zooming into her face, then the other person's face, then to the gun again, and her hand is still shaking, and it's like 30 seconds have
Mm.
gone by and there's nothing that happened. Just her hands are shaking. I
I
hated
really
that.
did not mind her.
Didn't
It's
Okay.
wasn't
just
like
that
the
she
whole
the
wasn't the
most
whole point
interesting
of Anna
character.
wasn't the whole point of Anna that she didn't hesitate while holding a gun? Wasn't that
He
the whole point?
hesitated the whole series.
Really? Okay
In
then.
the anime, she was just shaking every single time she held a gun. She was
Cause like
shaking.
in the manga, she was never shaking while holding a gun. She was like emotionless. That's
Okay,
what it felt
to
like.
Johan, I mean, to Johan. To other people, she could hold it still, but to
Okay,
Johan,
okay,
every time she saw
that's
Johan, she was like trembling on her knees. Like, I
okay, but
hated that.
that's like her PTSD though. That you can't really blame her for that.
Okay, bro, just
Unlike
get over
Tenma.
it. Bro, you have
Hey, bro,
PTSD,
just
bro.
get over it.
Get
Okay,
over it,
bro.
man. What the hell? You have depression, man, bro. Just,
Come
just,
on,
just
man.
be happy. Just be
Just be
happy, bro.
happy. Come on.
How dare you
What are you
be
gonna
sad?
What are you gonna be sad all your
Man,
life? Like, come on.
Bro, if you're anxious,
exactly.
what the hell? Just don't be scared.
Just
Simple.
man up. Just man up,
Yeah.
bro.
If you're poor, just buy a house. What the hell?
If you're homeless, just buy a house.
I
Bro, if you're
think
hungry, just buy food.
for me, Anna, like I didn't hate her. It's just that every time she was
I
on
didn't
screen,
either.
I didn't like her and I didn't hate her. Like she was there, I was like, okay, that's cool.
She
And
was
then
my
It was
like
least
she
similar
favorite.
for
moved on.
me.
She was my least
Cause like,
favorite easily.
okay, like for example, the baby. They hyped up the baby so much. Oh, you're gonna meet the baby,
Yes.
and the baby is such a garbage character. Oh my
Bro, he
god.
was hilarious. The baby literally pissed himself. He literally was a baby.
That's the thing. They hyped him up so hard, but it was such a like a douchebag. Like I don't know. It's just like
I don't know.
so
I don't.
underwhelming.
I don't think they hyped him up that
I
much.
expected the baby to be like this buff man, being like, "I am the baby." Like they ended up being like
Bro,
Yeah.
his
this
name is the
dwarf.
baby. What did you expect? He
I
was a
He
man
expected it to
said
be
he
child.
like
expected some
I
really buff
expected it to
dude
be
saying, I'm the baby.
like a satire. Like expect to be like some like huge man like mafia boss being like,
All right,
"I'm the baby."
all right. I want to talk about Johan before we wrap things up.
Okay,
Um,
go ahead.
I do have some opinions that like you guys don't agree with on Johan, but I want to preface this by saying like my initial impressions. I was hyped. Like the community didn't affect my opinion, but it was in a good way. I wanted to love Johan. Like when I first heard in the anime when they said, "Oh, the boy who got shot that you saved, his name is Johan," bro, I was shaking. I was like, I like got goosebumps. I was expecting, oh my god, this is some insane thing. Like my mind was just probably shouldn't have been that blown, but it was just such like an exciting thing. But as I went along, I just got less and less interested in his scenes. I feel like as an ideal, he was interesting, and his past as a plot point was very good. I loved the plot of Monster. I just felt like when he was on screen, I wasn't like as engaged as I would have
I
hoped I
think
would.
it's because he's really predictable. Like he's really predictable. Like every scene he's in, I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking he's gonna say some edgy thing and he's gonna smile, and then the scene's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
end.
I love that. Oh, I found inside myself. I found a darkness, and then he gets up and walks to the door, and I thought I was completely lost in it. But oh wait, no, I messed it up. No, he's like
Allah.
I was lost in a darkness, and but inside myself, I found an even darker and greater darkness. Like, bro,
Oh my
what
god. Yeah, I just felt he was really predictable. Like every time he's on screen, he talks about some edgy shit, and then he just gets off screen. Like, come on.
yeah. Um, my favorite part of Monster was when I was talking to Azumi, and I was like 20 episodes in, and I was explaining
Yeah.
to her what happened, just purely the plot. I was like, oh yeah, apparently he lives with families for about a year or so, and he um then he kills them like 10 years later, and then she was just interrupting me the whole time. You don't understand him. Yeah.
Okay, I
And
still feel bad about that. You don't
I,
have to bring that
I,
up.
I love it. No, you don't need to feel bad for it. It was funny. I loved it. It was like my favorite moment. It
Man.
was just incredible. Like that's why like I just felt like you're from that I don't know. You guys probably haven't seen that meme that was like, clearly you don't understand the thematic complexity of this cinematic masterpiece. It's not stupid. You are.
What Fate fans, like the entire community of Fate.
Yeah. Like it was just Azumi's elitist moment, and I loved it. I have my elitist moments too. Don't worry, but it was just
What are you
hilarious.
talking about? I don't have elitist moments. Okay?
Okay, Azumi, sure,
They're not
sure.
exist.
You're having one right now.
She's not elite. We're just below her.
Yeah, for
Exactly.
real.
Johan's perfect suicide was anything but perfect. He wanted to erase any trace of himself, but like he left everyone in the show. He left everyone in the show alive. Like Lunge has a whole case against him, and he has like all his notes from like going to Czechoslovakia. And Tenma literally knows him personally. Anna is his twin. She's proof of his existence. And it was just ironic because he's always saying, "Oh, Anna, you and I are the same. We are the same being." But his perfect suicide didn't include killing her.
Yeah.
Hmm. Well, do you think he would have
I
completed
thought
his
he would.
perfect suicide if he had succeeded the first time?
I thought he would. I thought he wanted to kill her.
No, what
Not
I mean
not
is like
just
he
together with him.
he
Yeah.
got like his ideology proven wrong by Tenma. But what if he didn't? Would you think that after he burned down like his the town where France was, do you think he would have like moved on to Anna and Tenma and so on and so forth? Or do you think he just wanted to kill that town and just die?
I don't think. I think the town was more about revenge.
Yeah, so like you're
It was
saying
the
that,
hometown of Franz Bonaparte, and he wanted to show him the same terror that Franz Bonaparte like put upon him and his family.
yeah, and
I can agree.
you're saying that his suicide was imperfect, but don't you think that if he had like succeeded in the revenge, he would have just moved on to like fix all of these imperfections, I guess?
Yeah, that's true. Maybe he was cut short
Yeah,
and
that's
could
what I
have
mean,
killed
yeah.
the rest. But yeah, honestly, it could also be that Anna misinterpreted it as he wants to commit the perfect suicide, meaning he needs to erase any history of himself. His perfect suicide could have been just like I was talking about, turning the most kind and a genuine person that he knows into a murderer. That could have been his perfect suicide because he proved his ideology correct.
Yeah.
We will never know because
I,
unfortunately the
I,
author had a cop out where he just left
diff-
Johan's ending completely ambiguous.
I kind of like it, not gonna lie. I like it.
I like it too.
I don't like
Johan
it.
was like, Johan was like, I'm going now. Just disappeared.
I think though, like he's probably not gonna kill someone again, just because his ideology was proven wrong.
I
And
Yeah.
so,
think,
like, what's the purpose of his existence? He was
I think
But
like,
in
he's
the
just
end, it
like,
was only technically proven wrong because Tenma didn't shoot him.
but that was his whole point. He wanted his uh his whole ideology is that all of humanity are evil and terrible, and along with all that garbage.
I think being saved twice by the same person he's trying to turn into a murderer is what set it in, like what made it clear to him that his ideology is wrong. So he
Possibly.
disappeared because his whole premise is that he's no one. And remember that scene when Lunge walked into like a murder case and he's like, I've never seen such a room void of human life. I think his whole premise is that he doesn't exist, so he just like at the end of the series he got proven wrong, so he just
Hmm.
disappeared.
Yeah,
Maybe he killed himself, who knows? But like,
maybe. But I think that was that's a valid ending. I think I would have liked that ending more than him just getting off screen. But how did you
maybe
guys like?
maybe
Yeah,
yeah. No, I was
I
just
was saying,
gonna
how did you
make a
like?
joke.
How did you like the storybooks? I felt like I loved them. They were like one of my favorite parts of the
The
series.
storybooks?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
love them.
loved it so
It
much.
was like the author is trying to like tell his story through another story. It was really good. I think it's being used more nowadays in media, but it's really good. Like
Yeah,
in Monster.
I love it too completely. I loved how it just displayed human emotion, and it kind of set the themes for the series. And it was so
Yeah,
ambiguous that the episode where they actually showed the book, I think it was in the 40s, I was just so hyped because we hadn't gotten to see it before.
It was such a what was that line? Like it was such a petty because his name was like beautiful, something like that.
Oh yeah, in the end,
it was such a pity because his name was Johann.
Such a
yeah.
pretty name that is. Yeah, that was it.
Johann was
Mm.
such a pretty name.
But there was no one to call him Johann, except that he left like 10 people knowing his name.
Yeah. Do you think that he wanted to devour Anna, similar to the monster in the book? Like he wanted to kill her last.
I think in some way, I felt like he wanted to be her because you remember
Wait,
when like they're
wait,
talking about
what?
what
Really?
Yeah, yeah,
happened
yeah. I agree.
what happened with her and
No, no.
like at the
Wait,
Red Rose
wait,
Mansion, and he's saying no, that didn't happen to you, it happened to me.
wait.
And
Whoa.
also
Wow, do you not remember this?
there's
No, no. I
another one.
remember this. I'm just saying, like, wow. Like, what kind of put you guys onto that? Is it the fact that he was literally cross-dressing as her?
No,
No, it was that.
it was the
I'm
fact that he was the one that was
kept back.
Lot,
kind of
No, no. I'm.
weren't you talking about how he was jealous of kids because they had emotion and they weren't affected by what happened to him? He was then maybe kind of jealous of Anna because she went through what he went through, but she was fine and like she was a nameless monster just like him, but she found a way to cope with that and be happy. So he
That's
wanted to
possible.
devour her,
That's possible. Hmm.
or maybe
Okay.
he just liked his sister too much, a bit too much.
Okay.
Like
Um. Azumi. Is that all you wanted to say?
yeah.
Okay. so, so we're kind of in agreement that his perfect suicide wasn't perfect.
yeah, I think it was cut short. I think personally, I think it was cut short.
Okay. All right. That's fair. Um. I I think
Jean Library,
one
Jean
of the
Library, best villain.
brilliant parts of the series was, like as Azumi said, everyone had their own perspective of it, and it kind of made it confusing for us, and it definitely made it confusing for me because everybody was trying to explain Johan without actually knowing him, just like we would.
I think it would have been a bit better if Johan was more of a concept, and they were all trying to explain him and reach him, and he was just ambiguous the whole series. Like not as much time, like
I
screen time.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be an even bigger cop out.
No, I feel like there should have been another villain who's like magnifying like Johan or something like that, and then Johan comes out and then like
I'm
shoots
not
him or
so
something. I
sure.
don't know.
I'm not so sure. Any final thoughts?
No, I think it's a great story. I just think it has a lot of uh like bad plot points, and I think that Johan was a bit overhyped for me because like everyone was like, "Oh my God, Johan is the best thing you'll ever see," but like in reality, he wasn't. In fact, he was actually like worse than some and other shows that I've watched.
He's an okay villain, I must say. Like I thought he
He's
was better
okay,
than average. He was definitely better than average. But I feel like
but
he's not
not the
the
best.
greatest that people say. Like I once heard someone say like, "Oh yeah, we can't even compare Dofi to Doflamingo because
No, Flamingo is
not
so
Dofi
much
to
better.
Dofi
Johan,
to Doflamingo.
Dofi to Johan." And I was just like, wow, is Johan that good? That such a masterful character like Dofi can't even be compared to him?
Yeah, but this is seinen. This isn't shonen.
No, no, I
But
understand that, but
even though
There will
You
be
haven't
different
seen Dofi.
elements.
You haven't seen Dofi. You need to see
Azumi,
Yes,
Dofi.
where
but
you need to keep reading.
All right, on the topic of reading, next week we're going to be watching/reading Yona of the Dawn. Freshie Khan right here isn't going to be around. We'll
Yep.
have a guest for that podcast, but
Yes, I'll not be around.
me and Izumi should be
He
there.
has to go get fresh.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm too busy getting fresh.
He needs to go to the grocery store to get more fresh.
Can I have 2 kilograms of fresh, please?
So, Yona of the Dawn next week, everyone.
Yeah.
Fun reading it.
Have fun. Have fun watching romance.
This is the Moon Tells Anime Podcast, and we're signing off.
Bye.
Bye bye. Sara
see ya.
brother.
Arrivederci.
All right.
See you next week.